All right, let's welcome in one of the great Eagles players of all time. One of the great Eagles defenders of all time. And he would have had a hard time biting his lip about this offense if he was a defensive player on the team. We welcome number 59, one of our favorites of all time, Mr. Seth Joyner. Seth, good morning, pal.
I don't know if it's good, but it's morning.
Yeah. So, top of mind for you. It's now been 13 and a half hours. What's top of mind for you the day after? What's going through your mind, man?
I'm not as shocked as most people probably are.
I'm not shocked at all, but go ahead.
But, more disappointed than anything. This is the one franchise in the city that we can, the last few years that we can kind of hang our hats on to be happy about, their performance and what they bring to the table. And they kind of fell back into the quandary of what's going on with the other three sports teams here in the city. Just disappointment. And yeah, we're a year removed. We probably should be grateful that we got, 2 Super Bowls in the last 4 years. But, when the expectations are high, the disappointment is, and the expectations, it's just palpable to go out the way that they went out, and having so much talent. That's I think that's the biggest disappointment, to see the offense perform the way it performed over the course of the entire season.
Are they less talented than we thought? I mean, I think they are. I think AJ is not as talented as he was 3 years ago. I don't think he's the same dude.
I don't think it's talent. I think it's coaching. First of all, I think it's coaching. You sit back and you watch games, and over the last 5 or 6 games of the season, because of where the schedule fell for the Eagles, we got an opportunity to watch more games on a Sunday than we ever normally get to watch. And you hear these commentators, Tom Brady, Tony Romo, Greg Olson. You hear these guys say, wow, what a great play design. We went the entire year. We never heard anybody ever say that about this Eagles offense at all. Not a single time, Joe.
Did you see anything unexpected and new and unique?
In the first quarter, maybe the first quarter and a half, they had some wrinkles in there, some different things that I'm sure the 49er defense and Robert Saleh was not prepared for. But, similar to San Francisco, you can only get away with trickery so long, and they chose the right time to use it, and it worked magnificently for them. But when I say trickery, you have your offense, you are who you are, and then every once in a while you got to go in and you got to make some tweaks, because when you self-scout, you can begin to see, where your tendencies are, and then you can make a tweak here, a tweak there. But, your playbook is your playbook. And the playbook that was their playbook all year long was not good enough, and they have to make, some massive changes in their offense. And
you think Jalen could run that effectively?
Joe, this is my opinion. And I've heard both sides of it.
Yeah.
Because, I know people that's intimately close to it in both ways. I've heard that there are things that he requires that he wants to run, and he wants to run only because that's what he's good at and that's what he's comfortable at. But I'm also smart enough to listen to, what the quarterback is saying, and what he intimated over the last few weeks is that he's running what they want him to run. And they're not giving him more to realize his full potential. Now, I don't know what's true and what's not true. But
He's been doing that all year, though, with the straitjacket.
Mm-hmm. But I think that, John, when you I think if Nick is going to be a CEO coach, I think you have to be more authoritative
That'd be nice.
than what he is. But we know that that's not going to happen. You know, you're always going to have a coach like Doug, a coach like Nick, because of the circumstances that presented itself post, Chip Kelly. So you're just not going to have that. But the nonsense that took place over the course of this year, that doesn't happen in Andy Reid's camp. That doesn't happen in Sean Payton's camp. That doesn't happen in John Harbaugh's camp. That doesn't happen in, authoritative type coaches' camp, and then how that perpetuates down the food chain.
Does that work though, Seth? Trying to be an authoritarian when you're also connecting, and that's one of your 5,
core values.
Core values, the connecting, and he wants to be everyone's best friend, as well as being a disciplinarian. I think they're at odds. I think those concepts work against one another.
You're not going to tell me that those coaches that I just listed off, that those coaches don't connect with their players. They absolutely do. They absolutely do.
A different way.
That's fair.
Yeah,
in a different way, though.
Yeah,
I think that's fair.
Yeah, those players respect that coach.
Well, that is the word that matters most in my mind. I would love these guys to respect and admire Nick Sirianni for what he represents as a football.
But there's a difference between liking a coach, John. There's a difference between liking a coach and respecting a coach.
Totally.
Players will
Same with the quarterback. Difference between liking your quarterback and respecting your quarterback.
Players will like a coach because there's certain things that a coach will do for players, i.e., he's a player's coach. He gives us time off. Players always love the path of least resistance. I don't care. That's just a life thing.
Totally.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
Like if we don't have to run sprints, man, we love coach.
Wait, but
if he's like, get on that line, and you got sprints after practice, you bitch and complain the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? But that doesn't mean that you don't respect that coach because you understand what he's doing and why he's doing it. You're just upset in the moment because discipline is always tough in the moment psychologically, But after you get past what's tough, then you're able to look back and say that was for my benefit. That helped me.
So how hard will it be for Nick to get things back under control, so to speak?
No, the foundation's already been built.
Totally agree. Dude, let me say this.
So what's the first step?
Hold on, John. If they could overcome 23 and that collapse and come back 12 months later and win a Super Bowl, they can overcome this.
Uh-huh.
Like, to me, the sky is not falling. I mean, the sky is falling a little bit, but it's not falling.
Is Sia AJ part of the solution here, Seth? And is Sia anyone else part of the solution?
You know what the solution
as well?
is? The solution is going to get, and this is tough. This is tough when it happens when you're a CEO head coach. Vic Fangio controls the defensive side of the ball. He controls what's called. He controls who plays. He controls all of it. You can just see that.
No question.
Like, at his age, he's not taking a job for a coach that's half his age to be telling him what to do and how to run his business when he's been coaching longer than that.
Wasn't he hired before Nick Sirianni?
Yes. So
he's not even on the field. He's in the booth.
So you have to, and this is the tough part. They need a Vic Fangio type of offensive coordinator that comes in and has the full autonomy on the offensive side of the ball. It's my offense. I'm running it. I'm calling it. The only thing you're going to tell me whether we should go for it on fourth down or whether we should punt it.
So that's what, if you're Lurie and Howie, you're stripping Sirianni of offensive handle.
You have to, and then the cycle perpetuates itself because here we go again. What happened to our last, Super Bowl winning coach when his hand was forced on who his personnel would be?
He stood up, but now he's not coaching anymore.
Yeah, you're actually taking it a step further than where they did 5 years ago with Doug. What you're saying isn't you don't get to have the coordinator you want. What you're saying is you don't get to be involved in the offense. That's a whole different level.
Well, because
I'm not saying it's not to be considered.
No, I get what you're saying.
I'm just saying that's a different level of slapping the coach around.
But what I'm saying is, we appreciate 22 and 24.
Sure.
Okay? But the handwriting is on the wall. Like, you got to be Ray Charles, Jose Feliciano. You got to be that guy not to be able to see what's at work here. Because you get halfway through your rookie season and you have to hand off things to Shane Steichen.
I got to give you a big butt, though, Seth.
No buts.
Unless it's about the quarterback.
No buts.
Unless it's about the quarterback.
No buts.
Look, I almost hope you got a new guy so you and everyone else can see it's probably not going to change very much when this quarterback is the way he is.
No.
I'm serious.
Listen, I don't believe that, Joe, because I believe that they're holding him back. I believe that they're holding him back from his full potential because of the lackluster offensive scheme that they run. Okay? And when you have and like I said before, I don't have any proof, but where there's smoke, there's fire. Oh, it's been stated that at the beginning of the year, Jalen stated that he doesn't want to run the football as much as he did last year. It's been stated that Jalen doesn't like to be under center. It's been stated that Jalen doesn't like to throw the ball across the middle of the field. Okay? When you go and you get an authoritative offensive coordinator, he'll look at Jalen like, I don't give a damn what you want to do. Mm-hmm. This is the playbook. This is what we're going to run, and this is how you're going to run it. I'm going to call it. I'm going to call it, and you're going to run it.
Well, I like
and
it.
You want to know something? We can sit down on Friday afternoon or Saturday afternoon, and we can have a conversation about what you like to run, okay? But this is what we're going to run because this is what's required in the moment.
I agree.
For us to make adjustments in order for us to win. That's why it's important, Joe.
No, I agree with you on that.
And I want to see him in another offense besides this putrid, uncreative offense that we watched him be in for the last 5 years.
I agree with that.
That's just a fact.
I think everyone
because
agrees
if anybody believes that this offense that we've seen for the last 5 years is anything more than what Nick Sirianni brought to the table when he first came in the 9-7 year, you're crazy. Because it's the same offense with a little wrinkle here. Even Kellen Moore.
For sure.
Brian Johnson took the bullet.
He
wasn't calling the plays. It wasn't his offense. Okay? Last year, Kellen Moore, he started off trying to do his own thing for 4 games. It didn't look good. When they came back, Kellen Moore was calling Nick Sirianni's offense. Okay? And when the season ended, hooray, hooray, we won the Super Bowl. He got out of here as fast as he could get out of here. Because what offensive coordinator wants to be calling plays when he's got experience doing it and he came in with his own book under his arm and you snatched it out and handed him something else?
Yeah. Seth, let me ask you this. I agree with everything you said in the last 2 minutes or so. Would you, when you hire someone in America, you're not allowed, it's against the law to hire someone on the basis of age. I guess unless you're looking for a child actor and if it's an 8-year-old kid in the script, I guess, Seltzer, you'd have to hire someone who's about 8 years old.
I think that's okay. Yeah.
I guess you get a. All right, but Seth, one of my theories is I'm breaking the law if I'm the Eagles. I'm only hiring an offensive guy who's old. I don't want someone who's 49 and under because if he does a good job, he's gone again. I'm hiring an old head, and so be it. That's it. I'm hiring an old head. Agree or disagree?
I'm looking for someone
like Bruce Arians. That kind of guy, if he was available.
Wow.
Now, he's not going to take a coordinator job, but that's the profile I'm looking for, who didn't have that level of success as a head coach. He was a pretty good head coach. But what he was for years behind the scenes, that's the kind of guy I want. Old head.
It's tough because there's very few guys that's happy with being a career coordinator. If you've had success, you want to step up. You want to be the top guy.
No question.
You want to be the top earner. You want to be the man. And that's hard. It's problematic.
What about Rich Kotite? He's probably 97 years old.
Stop it, man. So I think that's why That's
a little levity on a bad day, all right?
No,
Rhea,
not.
I appreciate that you laughed.
Chuckled.
Today's not a day of levity. You almost made me throw up last night's dinner with that comment. I think that this is why it's so hard with the young coordinators, because they're the ones that live, eat, sleep, and breathe football to the point where they come up with all the creative stuff. Like, I'm watching Ben Johnson on Saturday, and I'm totally amazed at the adjustment ability. See, that's the thing when it comes to Nick and the people that he's had that they've failed at, especially this year, is your inability to in-game dissect what someone's doing to you and come up with an answer for it.
Take advantage, yeah.
I mean, how can you play, Joe, 18 games and never have an answer? And go back to 23, he stands in front of the world and pretty much says that he doesn't have an answer.
If we had an answer, we would have fixed it.
Yes.
He said that.
I mean,
he said that. And then somehow that got erased from history.
It didn't get erased because I never let that get erased because I was blown away that he actually said it.
But they did win a Super Bowl in between.
But then I questioned if he really said it.
But you got to think about it. You got to think about what Howie has done.
Yep.
And what Howie has given him. And we have to be realistic for all the people that talk about how great of a head coach he is. And his record verifies, us talking about how great of a head coach he is. And the fact that he went to 2 Super Bowls in 3 years. Okay? But that's unconscionable. You can't be an offensive-minded head coach and see your team struggle and have no answer for it and publicly state it. And for the evidence to be there that you don't have an answer. And he talked about it all this year. Jalen was asked last night, going into this game with the time off and blah, 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 did you feel like, you had the answer?
Yeah, fixed it. Yeah.
And he said no.
Well, I don't think anyone thought they really had. I mean, I'm not saying they shouldn't have, but
that can't happen. For someone in this league, the elite of the elite, with only 32 teams, 53 guys on the roster, 1,696 players, that's unacceptable.